unless Congress acts. 1 week from now, more than 100,000 DHS employees, Border Patrol, port inspectors, TSA agents will show up to work without getting paid. Now, they all work in your states. These are folks who, if they don't have a paycheck, are not going to be able to spend that money in your states. It will have a direct impact on your economy, and it will have a direct impact on America's national security, because their hard work helps to keep us safe. And as governors, you know that we can't afford to play politics with our national security.
Alongside Miranda Khan, J.D. Hayworth, you just heard our president speaking to the nation's governors yesterday as they assembled in Washington, telling them how crucial it was to make sure federal government employees, the Department of Homeland Security, got their paychecks, and how we were jeopardizing the security of the nation by failing to make sure those paychecks came in on time. A couple of other messages there, but that really was the intent.
That was incredible delivery, by the way.
Thank
Back
you.
on Capitol Hill, House and Senate legislators continue to banter back and forth to find a way to avoid the shutdown of the executive department created by President George W. Bush.
Just one friendly amendment to that. It came via legislation.
Right.
It came via legislation. My old buddy Mac Thornberry, now the chairman of the Armed Services Committee, sponsored that legislation way back when for a Department of Homeland Security. You see, I'm kind of getting back in that. I don't know if I've recovered from being in Congress
I don't know if you
exactly.
have, but you know what? That's good for us, because you offer a lot of insight, because you've been there.
And it's so cool when you offer a friendly amendment, you don't have to have it voted on. You just do it on the fly.
You like the ease of that?
At any rate, a former INS officer by the name of Michael Cutler often appears on this program. He was here earlier today to give his take on this funding dispute.
It just seems that this is extortion by the administration. I've come to call this administration a thugocracy. How in the world do you hold America's Homeland Security hostage to a political process?
So, is this... Yep. And what about our national security? Miranda, you've been checking this, and I guess now it's time for me to be interviewed, so to speak.
That's right. Yeah. Well, we've been talking about everything being tied together. We talked about Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell now offering to separate the two, with the Department of Funding for the Department of Homeland Security, and obviously the president's executive orders for amnesty for 5 million or so illegal immigrants. So there's been a lot of talk. Is that a good idea? What is your take? Because you talked to, what do some of your past, former colleagues are saying? Because you kind of feel like, I don't want to, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Well,
say that?
Sure you can, and despite the fact that it's a family show, we can still talk about it. No, in all sincerity, here is the problem as it exists right now. I mean, no less a luminary than Ben Carson was here last week saying split this into parts. So at first blush, it appears that the Senate is following that common sense suggestion.
Right, because Republicans are notoriously known for beefing up security and putting money towards that, so it can make them look bad.
Well, here is the challenge. The concern comes really with the actions of the Senate, because there remains more than a casual suspicion that despite all this talk about, hey, the president has overstepped his bounds, let's not forget the infamous amnesty bill that came through the Gang of Eight in the last session of the Senate. And of course, it passed the Senate, but the House killed it. But 4 members of the Gang of Eight were Republican who backed that. And so the question becomes, even if you separate out this funding, will Republicans all vote together, or will you have a mini, not mutiny, but people voting the other way?
What do you think is going to happen? You played this before.
I think that probably they will move forward with the funding. The way it will be covered in Washington is this will be a tremendous victory for the president, even if they separate it out. And again, there's always the chance that Democrats who say they're going to oppose funding for the immigration and move forward with this bill will somehow flock back to support the president, and a few Republicans will get all mavericky, so you'll have the worst of both worlds. You'll have the Senate doing something, but it does give political cover in a sense to members of the House who said, we did the right thing. I can't speak for the Senate. Sad to say, cynical but true. We'll see what happens, and there's more on America's Forum right after this.